Hey guys, I am back, and this is going to be panel 1 of page 2 of Stupid Girl. So I am redoing the page as one of my preview pages, and this is, let me zoom out and I'll show you what I'm working with. It's pretty much going to be the same layout as the previous page, but I think I'm going to do it a little bit different. So here is what I've got for panel 1. The explosion is going to be out here. This is what it looked like before, so it's going to be pretty similar. The only thing I'm not really super excited about is that this car is fine, this Range Rover is fine, but this car over here is kind of at a diagonal, and I don't really like that. And the problem is, unfortunately, that I've already done quite a bit of work on here, and in order to change this SUV and get it either turned around or move it or whatever, I'm pretty much just going to have to render this all out again and do the extra work, which I'm probably going to do, because what's the point of going with a page that you don't really like? If it can be better, just make it better. But I'll go ahead and show you what I've got anyway, because I think that's worth looking at. So, for example, this is what came out of the AO pass, and that's what I had in Maya to begin with. So this is what I've got. Now this is going to help me a lot with adding my own inks. So sometimes Pencil Plus will not give me exactly what I want, and I can go in and harden and soften edges and kind of get exactly what I want, but that can be a little bit time consuming, and it's also a little bit on the mechanical side. So what I will do is I'm going to go ahead and move or rotate this, and I also downloaded some new vehicles which are more regular. There's a box truck, there's like a Vespa scooter, there's some other non-luxury vehicles, which I think is important, because this is an Audi, that's a Range Rover, this is a Mercedes, and you know, it's kind of silly to have a bunch of luxury Porsches and Mercedes and all that in your scene, because that's not very realistic unless you're in Dubai or Monaco or something like that. So, and that's still a little bit strange. But this is the model, and I'm going to zoom out and show you. See, this is at a weird angle. Originally, this was done for a scene where police were basically had arrived on the scene. So these were basically going to be police cars. In fact, I don't have any police cars models, but I'm going to find some, because it's just going to work a lot better. So anyway, this is what I've got. This whole bank building right here on the corner, this was modeled by me, but everything else I did not model at all. So, I mean, I can, but I'm not going to waste a bunch of time doing that. I'll just make changes and adjustments where necessary to get what I really want. So I think those work out really well. And so yeah, that's what I'm working on as far as the models, rendering, and then, yeah, let me show you again here. So that's the AO, Ambient Occlusion pass, and that helps me figure out where I want to add my own inks to make adjustments and changes. So yeah, you saw it in Maya. Then this is what came out of Pencil Plus. I did do some hardening and softening and art direction with regard to what actually gets rendered out. And you can see that I actually set it up so that, for example, I had to soften and harden various edges to get this brick. But why not? I mean, that is so cool, just to be able to have the brick rendered out automatically for you when you don't have to deal with that yourself. It makes things so much easier, and I think it looks good. So yeah, here's a bunch of stuff. And then I'm going to turn on this ink layer, and you can see, especially like in this wheel area or in the front of this Mercedes, this is where I did a lot of work. And that's based on the AO. That's based on the ambient occlusion, is where I decided where these lines need to go. And that extends to the other vehicles as well. Not really in the background. I think it looks pretty good. And one thing I really like is I've set the settings in Pencil Plus to make the lines start thick, and then at the end they kind of taper off. So you can see it's thin here, it's thin here, it's thin here, here, here. Every single line does that. And I just think it gives it a really nice, less mechanical, computer-generated look. Now, anybody's going to be able to look at this and be like, oh, obviously that's 3D. Let me zoom out. Yeah, I mean, it is. And I'm not trying to hide that. I'm doing a lot of the modeling myself. I have the plugin. That's what the plugin is for. It's going to save me a lot of time. It's going to make the perspective a lot better. And once I have the models, it's just going to look great. It's going to be faster. And you know what? If people complain, we'll wait and see. We'll see how people feel about that. But you know, nobody's doing their lettering by hand, cutting them out of paper and then pasting it onto the artboard like they used to do in the 70s and 80s. So, you know, if computer generated lettering, if this is cheating, then that is cheating. So, you know, come on. Let's just use the tools we have. Everybody's got different tools and skill sets. Some people draw digitally, some people draw traditionally. You know, I mean, nobody's asking you to draw a straight line without a ruler. So, all right, enough about that. But yeah, I am a 3D artist. Comic books are my passion, but I have a 3D education, and that's my day job as well as a 3D artist. So why not use the skills that I have? As my 3D to 2D sort of video shows, I had to figure this out all on my own. So if you have the time and inclination to kind of add in this type of stuff to your work, then by all means do it. So that's that. That's how the 3D is coming into play. And then the other thing I wanted to show in this video, because I'm going to have to move this vehicle, add in the ones that I've recently got, and it's going to be a lot more work still. And this whole part where this SUV is going to have to be completely redone. And I'm not going to record that, but anyway, so what I did was, let's go ahead and go to the panel inks, and I'm going to hold Control and click so it makes a border around this. And what I did was I just cropped that for a moment, just briefly. Image resolution 3147 by 914. Now that's actually on the outside, so that's not exactly what it is, but what I did was essentially that is I wanted to see what the dimensions were of that panel. And then in Maya, what I did was I go into render settings, and this is under V-Ray, so this is still that clay or grayscale AO render. But this is what it was. It was 3137 by 904. And when I do the Pencil Plus, I set it with the same dimensions. And then you can use this thing here, which is the resolution gate. And this is the size of that panel. So here's panel 1 cam. And I set some bookmarks, so it's super easy to get right back to exactly that same thing. So any changes I make, I just come right back to this exact same view. I re-render it, and I can just composite them together, use masks, and do whatever I need to do. But yeah, this is a great way, because if, for example, you didn't have this or that, and you just render it, and then you have to put it in there, and you're like, you know what, it doesn't really work in that panel. But now you can turn these on, and you can exactly get what you want. You can specifically set the camera based on this panel size for what you're looking for. And I felt like this worked. I felt like this was what I wanted. And yeah, so that's going to kind of do it for this video, I think. Yeah, so it's hand inking, it's Pencil Plus lines, and then the AO just to help me figure out what's going on. The only other thing I'm saying is that I might might set up the entire, like I like to do one panel at a time. I like to color it and get it completed before I really move on to the next panel. Although I did mean to sketch out the whole layout and kind of get that started because I need to know what the roadmap is for the page. But I'm thinking possibly about doing this at 600 dpi. Maybe 450. I don't know what can be printed or how it would look. I may not, but sometimes I just like to get zoomed in really far and just kind of like add a crap load of lines. I don't really think that's going to be necessary, and especially if I change my mind after a few pages. This is a 41-page comic, so whatever I start with, I need to be consistent throughout the entire book. And I think that's probably a bad idea, but it's just something I was thinking about. The only other thing here is, let's see, I'm going to have to kind of figure this out. This is actually buildings across the street on the backside because these walls didn't quite connect. So when I'm going to go ahead and, since I have to pretty much re-render the Pencil Plus, I'm gonna adjust these walls and make them connect in the back so all this stuff kind of disappears. And I might add like a 3D text that says something bank, just so that I don't, because this was going to be like a big poster, kind of like a bank collage or montage, not montage, but like a collage with a logo and all that. But I think I might try to do like a 3D text that says bank and some name of a bank, some generic thing, and put it on there. And then that will render out as well. And again, everything that's Pencil Plus will just come right back in. So I'm going to have to get rid of these hand inks for this SUV. But all of this stuff on this car and on this side will remain the same. So it's going to be, it's actually really easy. It's really convenient. It's really easy to work with. And if I had to do this by hand and redraw this, oh my gosh, it would be a nightmare. All right, so yeah, I mean, I might add a couple of hardened lines here on these doors just to kind of put those in where I don't have to do them manually. And then I'm going to populate it with some characters, sort of like I showed on here. So these are all 3D mannequins, and they're just for reference, just so I can have certain kinds of poses and then put the camera where I want. And I use them as like photo reference. I don't like trace over the mannequins. They have huge heads anyway, so it's more for animation. It's not really for this, but hey, it works. So yeah, I'll just put them into poses sort of like this. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And the letters are outsourced. They'll be outsourced again because I just don't trust myself. I'd rather have someone else do it, even if it takes a few days for the turnaround. And yeah, so I'll come back next time and I'll show something else, another a few steps ahead after this. Maybe we'll see how it goes. I'll do as many videos as I can. I really want to be consistent with it, but I hope this was a pretty good way to start showing how I'm going about doing this. And you know, I hope it doesn't look super mechanical. Like, it definitely looks 3D, but once it's colored and it has sort of my own, like, these are just lines, these are just ink lines to complete the basic shape. Like, there's no style ink lines in here at all. This is all just kind of the base level drawing. That's all I've been working on so far. So, all right, I'm going to wrap it up because I can just kind of meander on through a bunch of useless words and make this drag on. So hopefully that was helpful, and I am really looking forward to making this page come alive, finishing it up, getting the other sketched panels out, and showing you what I am working with. And I will talk to you next time, guys. Thanks so much for checking it out. Subscribe, thumbs up, comment, all that stuff definitely helps. I appreciate it, and have a great day. Bye.